ended up getting shot at when I was 21 years old, which was the worst day of my life, actually. But when I think back at it, what's really ironic about that is it was the best thing that ever happened to me. You and I would not be talking right now if that had not happened. You know, I would never have started the businesses if that had never happened, never written the books. So everything happens for a reason, even the dark, shitty stuff that sometimes you don't recognise at the time. Bottom line is, I've done 4 years on benefits. I've been addicted to drugs twice. You got to work really hard to get addicted twice. I delivered pizzas when I was 31 years old to keep the business afloat. And now, I retired from 4 Networking, still majority shareholder, the management team in there 4 years ago. And my focus now is on changing the personal development game across the UK.
Hi everybody, welcome to today's Coffee with Robert. I've got a really, really special guest with me today, a guy called Brad Burton, who's the founder of 4 Networking. I think Brad is the largest networking group now in the UK.
Largest joined up network.
Yeah, there you go.
Joined up, there you go.
Okay, well, we met some 10 years ago and we were partnered up, and we've just been reminding each other of that some 10 years ago. It's been a long time, but Brad impressed me a lot back then. He's a really kind of stand up, get up and do it, and don't kind of look for excuses type of guy, and I really like that kind of attitude in life. He's the author of 4 books. I've got them listed down. Sorry, Brad, I got the first one. Get Off Your Arse, Get Off Your Arse 2, Life, Business Just Got Easier, and Now What? And is regarded by a lot of people as Britain's #1 motivational speaker as well. So that's it. I'm all talked out. I want to hear what Brad's got to say about his backstory, what he's doing now, and where he's going to in the future. So with all of that out of the way, Brad, welcome, my friend. Over to you.
Thank you, Robert. You got it. So I'm 46 now, and for 31 years of my life, I think it's fair to say I achieved nothing. I had flashes of brilliance, but no consistency in my life. And in the last 14 years, I've managed to get consistency in my life. I think that's fundamentally the difference. Born in 1973, my dad left when I was 6 months old. My mum brought me up, as a single parent. I moved 14 times from the age of 8 to 14. And I just wanted a place to belong. I just wanted a place to put roots down. Anyway, I left school with no qualifications, bummed about, messed about, really. Ended up getting shot at when I was 21 years old, which was the worst day of my life, actually. But when I think back at it, what's really ironic about that is it was the best thing that ever happened to me. You and I would not be talking right now if that had not happened. You know, I would never have started the businesses if that had never happened, never written the books. So everything happens for a reason, even the dark, shitty stuff that sometimes you don't recognise at the time. Bottom line is, I've done 4 years on benefits. I've been addicted to drugs twice. You got to work really hard to get addicted twice. I delivered pizzas when I was 31 years old to keep my business afloat. And now, I retired from 4 Networking, still majority shareholder, the management team in there 4 years ago. And my focus now is on changing the personal development game across the UK. And I'm actually doing quite a good number at it. So when I started 4 Networking, I started back in February the 16th, 2006. And I'd looked at these other networks, and in political terms, you kind of had the loony left of networking where nothing quite happens. You know, you're talking about the parking provision for Angel Place Shopping Centre, or just not really happening there. It's like a school disco. Then you have the hardcore right. Where's your leads? Where's your referrals? You have to attend. You have to be. Where's the mainstream of networking? And I saw an opportunity back then for networking to be done like New Labour, if anything, which was to look at this kind of fresh way of doing it, open shirt policy. I mean, we kind of made the establishment look old-fashioned and funny today. You know, that was 13 years ago, and everyone told me it'd never work. And actually, if you look at my track record up to that point, I can see why people thought that.
Yeah, but you obviously have got strong sort of internal belief in yourself. Because a lot of people listen to other people's opinions rather than their own.
Yeah, that's true.
That is yours.
Well, I think what happened is I turned down the volume on other people and turned my own volume up. In that, a teacher said to me, "I never amount to anything," and up until 14 years ago, he was right. But we can all change. Change is difficult, but that's what I've done, and that's what I help with other people make changes to their lives. We can all be a better version of ourselves. I'm living proof of that. I've no qualifications, 4 years on benefits, yet I've written 4 books, yet I speak at the highest level in the UK. Next Sunday, I'm speaking at opening the show at Newcastle Startup Week. then on the Monday, and then speaking down in Portsmouth. Then on the Tuesday, I'm opening the show at Excel, the largest business show in Europe.
Yeah.
So somewhere along the way, I've managed to get myself in these positions, but I've got myself in these positions in the same way I got myself in those positions back in the day, where I was addicted to drugs or I was unemployed. You know, I kind of got myself into every situation. I've got myself into some good ones. I've got myself into some bad ones. And more recently, I've now managed to recognize what I need to do. And one of the fundamental things here that I've got here, this is my band, better decisions faster. This is what I stand for, which fundamentally your success or failure in your life, Robert, will be defined by your ability to make decisions. What more success? Make better decisions.
Yeah.
That's what it's about.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that one of the things that I kind of, because I'm the same as you, I kind of study success, I study people because I care about people. I do, and it's no accident. I don't think that if you gradually kind of morphed into where you are now, because even before networking, it was all about helping people, really.
Well, you know, if you look at my primary directive right now, it's to make a positive difference. Like really, if I was like Robocop and you put USB cable in my head, it's to make a positive difference. And I think that probably comes from almost socialist values from being a kid in the working class Manchester.
Yeah.
And actually, you know, borrowing a cup of sugar off your neighbour, those days are finished.
Yeah. Do you know what? I love all that stuff though, because I think the internet's great in a lot of ways, but people have lost the ability to connect as people now. They're all hidden behind computer screens, and people are losing their kind of ability to just have a conversation. In fact, they'll go as far as to avoid it at all costs. Isn't it incredible?
Robert, this is interesting because my next venture that I'm on is doing just that. I'm creating virtual villages because I believe that that's where the future lies now. Yeah. You know, face to face, you can't beat it. But in lieu of that, the next best thing is face to face, as we're doing right now.
Yeah, absolutely right. Absolutely right. I mean, for me, it still hasn't changed. People still buy people, and you still have to get that connection. You still have to be able to look somebody in the eyes. You might not be able to shake their hand, but look in the eyes and get a feel for who they are. And I think some of that's being lost, and it's also a convenient excuse for those that don't want to step outside of their comfort zone. To actually have those conversations, you know.
And that's the thing about the comfort zone. Outside of that is the learning zone, and most people don't do that. If I think about me at 46, why did it take me till 31-year-old to change my life? What went on there? I'll tell you what went on there. My boy was born, baby Ben, and for the first time in my life, it was no longer about me, because if it was down to me, I'd sit there getting stoned at weekends. All of a sudden, it's now down to my boy. I've got to make it count. So that's why it changed. And I think people need to find that within themselves or their lives, or accept that they can't be asked. Accept that you really can't be asked. But there's no point in being wistful and thinking, oh, I'd like to be a millionaire, or I'd like to do this, that, and the other. Do something about it, or choose to accept that you're never going to do anything about it. Either way is good, but accept where you are and find your level. Find your level.
I couldn't agree more, mate. I could not agree more. I'm getting quite animated now, because I've always, you know, shouted as loud as I can that as far as I'm concerned, the cornerstone of all personal development is taking responsibility. If you can't get past that first part, none of the rest of it matters. None of it.
And you can't skip the steps. So until you accept that on the bottom stairs is acceptance that of your fallibility, of your mistakes. Look at me, like I say, as an individual. You know, I would not be much of a motivational business speaker if I didn't talk about addicted to drugs, didn't talk about getting shot at, didn't talk about delivering pictures, didn't talk about having a nervous breakdown, didn't talk about having a marriage breakdown. You know, all these things here, these crucial, key things are milestones in my life. I share them, and most people don't share them. Most people just think it's them, but they're the ones going through self-doubt. They're the ones going through having no money. They're the ones going through a whinging partner. You know, and actually, I'm the only one daft enough to share it.
Yeah, but there's the magic, because I think that's where the disconnect is in most cases. Because most of the people out there realize they've got faults, and what they want to do is connect with somebody who's doing well that's got similar faults, because then they think they can get there too, don't they? But if they look for somebody that literally looks like they've never stepped in dog poo ever or anything like it, you know, never tripped up on anything, then where's the connection? It's just becomes unbelievable for them. So it's interesting what you're doing and where you're going with all of this, and I can see the passion that you've got for it. And it was also interesting something that you said that earlier on, when you were saying that you know, that your motivation is kind of like to do this and to do that, and nowhere are you talking about the money angle.
So let me explain something. Let me explain something.
Yeah.
I'm in a financial position
Yeah.
that I've lived in council estates all my life, right? Up until the last 15 years or whatever. I've turned my life around. I have every material thing that I want. Every material thing. I've got a full-size arcade machine in there. I've got a BMW i8 out there. You know, I've got everything. Would my life be better if I had a twice the size arcade machine, thing that I want? And if I could just maintain this for the rest of my life, I'm a happy guy. And people are so convinced that they want to keep pushing and pushing and pushing. And then looking at this whole thing and you go, why are you pushing?
Yeah.
What are you doing it for? Because I'd say when that ambition and that drive starts to make you unhappy, you've just found your level. And that's what I found. My ambition and my drive started causing me to be unhappy. So I've dialed it down and said, right, I'm happy there.
Well, I mean, brilliant. I mean, ultimately, though, the only thing that we can do is be happy. That's all we've got, isn't it? And and the ego, everything you were talking about is ego driven anyway. And as a natural progression, as you move through life and you get a little bit older, for most of us, we get a bit more spiritual, don't we? We start to reconnect with who we really are and what we really want to do, what our true purpose actually is. And without getting all woo-woo, we do realize that an awful lot of people spend their entire blooming life chasing stuff at the expense of their relationships, their health, their family, everything, to get where they already are.
Let me tell you a story. I've got a mate of mine. He's got a property, £8 million over in Mayfair. I went down to see him, and he's got a £30 million construction company. And he took me down to his basement, and he'd had it excavated, and he'd got a 40-foot cinema screen in his basement. And he had 40 chairs, a popcorn machine, and what have you. And I said to him, you know what you need now, Steve? He said, what's that? I said, 38 fucking friends. You know, he ended up spending all this time. He's now going through a divorce. Yeah. So would he have been better not plowing the energy and resource into a 40-seat cinema when actually the reality is he could have kept with his television and maybe put some of that time and energy into his marriage. And actually, they've got to sell it anyway. Yeah. So it's like the curse of being wealthy. Now, that doesn't mean that, you know, would I sooner have more money than less? I'd sooner have more. Am I prepared to work for more money? No. Yeah. I'm categorically not.
Exactly. I mean, example, your BMW i8, yeah? Yeah. I mean, nice car. Mm-hmm. But how long did it take you to get over the initial thrill of having that car? And regardless, it's just your car.
I've had it for 8 days. So I'll let you know in another few
months. So you let me know if you. Well, what I'm getting at is, will you ever get over the thrill of your son?
Exactly. But the point I'm making is that I actually saved for that. I got myself in a financial position where actually it wasn't an easy decision for me to make. Let me put it that way, right? I had to make a conscious decision. And I did 8 months of research before I bought it. The point I'm making on this whole thing here is material things. I'm not against material things. What I'm against material things is when they start costing more than the material things. They start costing mental health. They start costing well-being. They start costing, being angry. That is when it costs. The cost is too much. And actually, that's a cost that I could afford to do with that.
Yeah, and also when you're not, I mean, I get the sense that you bought that for yourself. No problem with that at all. Of course, why not? You worked hard, but when you're buying it to impress other people because of their opinions of you are more important to you than your own, that's a problem for some people, isn't it?
Well, you know something. I am 46 now. Getting in and out of a daft car, right? Yeah. And there may be a time when I can't get in and out of a daft car. So actually, this is about this like limited window for you to do what you're going to do. I started my business at 31-year-old. I'm 46 now, and actually 15 years of hardcore graft. And people who say, "Oh, they're going to make money while you sleep," I'm in a position where I make money while I sleep. Just as in, like, really, it took probably 9 or 10 years to get to that stage. And actually, there's a myth out there that you can do it from day one. And actually, for the vast majority of people, there's not. And I think you need to understand that the road, if you know where you're going, it's going to be long and arduous. If you don't know where you're going, it's going to be long, arduous, and frustrating. Yeah. That's a reality of it. So actually, it's so crucial that you understand where you're going. If I go back to where I was mentally when I first started, this was about, like I say, buying flash cars and actually being ostentatious. And actually, you're doing it for everyone else. You're not doing it for yourself. It's weird. It's a weird mentality.
It is weird, and I've been there myself, and to my cost.
Good on you for being honest.
Oftentimes, Yeah, I mean, sometimes you extend yourself well beyond your means, really,
Right.
to make an impression.
Right.
And then it comes back and bites you in the derriere, doesn't it, later on? And you
So
learn.
Rob, here's the thing with me, right? I am jeans, trainers, and t-shirts. When I speak at the highest level in the UK, whether it's JCB, Beckler, Snap-on Tools, I wear jeans, trainers, and a t-shirt. Now, I was told that I needed to be Mr. Formal to get booked by corporates.
Yeah.
Right? That's what people said to me. And actually, once again, it goes back down to listening to your internal voice. What I've done is I've done it my way. So while there's 1,000 speakers who wear suits, a three-piece suit, and a pocket watch, I've been at Mount Kilimanjaro, there's only one that's daft enough to say he's been shot at and everything that's associated with it. So what you've got to do is you've got to use your aces. An ace can be either a 1 or it can be an 11. I used to think that all my things that had gone wrong in my life were a 1 and I didn't share them. Now I go loud and proud. You know what? I got shot at. Yes, I've been addicted to drugs. All these kind of things, and actually use them as unique selling points for what I do.
Totally, mate. I love you for it too, and I make no secret of the fact that almost my entire life I've suffered with depression, and there are members of my family that do, and thankfully it's not an issue for me anymore. But by God, I mean, we all have our ups and downs, day by day. But wow.
So I had depression. Right? I used to have what I'd call 3 days a month, like a period almost, where I would not. It was dark, and you could win money. You could win the lottery, and it'd be like the root of all evil. Everything was. I couldn't get out of bed. It was that bad. And then I actually wrote about this in 2008 in Get Off Your Ass, the first one, that I started self-medicating, and that self-medication was action, doing stuff. I used to go to the post office every single day and send 5 letters a day to potential clients. I had to get dressed. I used to have to lick the stamps, put them on the envelopes, write the envelopes, and go to the post office. And that's what I heard. Now, if you'd asked me back in 2008, am I a manic depressive? And I said yes. I've not been a manic depressive for years. So therefore, this, I believe, was because of belief, as in belief in myself, and I felt tethered to my life. I felt tethered to my working class stuff. I never felt that I could do anything or achieve anything. And actually now I do not get depressed. I used to get depressed all the way up until 31-year-old, depressed. And I'd go to the doctors and get Fluoxetine and Prozac. And now I don't do that. So what changed? I changed. And this is the thing. Look, people look at what I've done here, right? And if I think about my life, no qualifications, dad left with all these fucking reasons as to why I couldn't succeed, and I listened to those reasons. And this is what be the best you. Why wait? And anyone who's listening to this, be the best you. Why wait? It sounds like a truism, but I'm being serious. This is nothing, because we end up blaming Brexit. The reason our business can't work is because of Brexit or because of Theresa May. Bullshit. The reason your business isn't working is because of you. Because you can't, you either one up your own arse, or you're not got the confidence to go out there and do something. And it's always the thing behind the thing behind the thing. When people tell you what the problem is in the world, it's never that. It's always the thing behind the thing behind the thing. And I get down to that. That's what I do. And I have to do that with myself. I had to find out what was really going on, not the bullshit that I was telling myself. The reason I can't succeed is I'm a working class lad. Oh, my dad left me when I was 6 months old. Nothing to do with that.
Yeah. No, I call that the law of relativity. I call that, and you're dead right. By the way, that's one of the single biggest reasons I see for people not doing as well as they could do, is the fact that when you compare yourself to somebody else, what do you always do? You compare their good points to your poor ones.
Oh, like that.
Looking good, do you? And whereas when you only look at the best version of yourself and think, how can I be a better version of me? You only ever can, I love that. And I feel exactly the same way. Yeah.
Robert, I think in some respects, I've almost got misguided self-belief. Right? I've almost got misguided self-belief. And actually people would think that, that I'm crackers, and every step of the way, they would probably right. But that misguided self-belief has got me to the point where at 12:20 today, where we're talking, I don't have to call in. I don't have to. This is just like mind-blowing for me. And this is why when people say to me, well, you could do more. Why don't you go and conquer America? Because whilst there's a single person in the UK that doesn't know about me or my motivational speaking, then why am I going to America? I don't understand this insistence on following. You've got to do what's right for you. You've got to do what's right for you.
Absolutely right. No, absolutely right. And I see a lot of again, a lot of unhappiness, and it's kind of a conflict with core values. And it is so important to, number one, figure out who you are, and then live your truth, like live your life according to you. Because course, we grow up with all our, our parents' kind of
That's right.
mindsets and their belief systems, and we end up living somebody else's life in our skin, which doesn't figure, does it?
And I think that's what changed for me. When I walk onto stage, I know, look at me, I do not look like your archetypal motivational speaker. I get it. And then rather than hide away from that, I know what I need to do. I need to wear a suit, and I'll put a shirt on so people can't see my tattoos. I walk on like this, and the first thing I say is, at a corporate gig, I come on with jeans, trainers, and t-shirt. Everyone's going, oh my God. So the first thing I say is just to put your mind at ease. I am from Salford, Manchester, do have a shaved head, do have tattoos, but don't worry, I'm not a drug dealer. You always get an amazing laugh there. And then once that laugh subsides, I say, any more? But we can all change, and then they go into it. So people get me wrong. And I say that halfway through. Look, show of hands, who actually thought this guy, who's this dickhead when I came on? And be honest, hands go up. And I say, right, who still feels the same way after I've spoke? Be honest. Right. And actually, even if there's some hands up there, go, you know what? That's what life's about. You're not going to get on with everyone. Accept it. But as long as 80% of people like it, then that's okay. But what we end up doing is we end up trying to appease the 20%. And in doing that, we lose who we are.
Yeah.
So if I think about me as an individual now, it's like two sides of the same coin. If I ask people who don't like me to describe me, they say squarey, scruffy, thug, old face, whatever, right? If I ask people that do like me, they'd say, generous, they would say kind, they would say inspirational. Two sides of the same coin. So the only way that I can appease these people that don't like me, the only way is by getting rid of all the things that people who like me about it. And that's where people go wrong. And that is why the world ends up in this vanilla world, because so many people are trying to appease. Just enjoy your life. Enjoy your life and be you.
Definitely. No, I agree with you. I mean, it's good sense. And I think, as to go back to what we were talking about earlier, excuse me, there's a lot of great things to be said for having the internet these days. But one of the things that I would say is probably a negative now is that comparison thing is going on all the time. People are watching YouTube all the time. They're listening to people tell them they got to be this, they got to do that, they got to do it then, all this stuff, and they're losing their own identity. It's that thing of over-analysis, which is it's almost like climbing a ladder and looking down and freezing because you're scared. And you know what? The key to all of that is kind of what you do, as far as because I see you as an action taker. And I see that as a major part of your story with people. Of course, correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like it's come on, get off your ass and take some action.
But you know what, Rob? I think
you do that, you're not thinking anymore. You're just doing, and you tend to come up with the answers to the questions you're analysing.
So, Robert, let me explain how we do something. I've got something called my Now What Club, a private members club, and what I do is fundamentally, success or failure will be defined by your ability to make decisions, good ones and bad ones. Want more success, make better decisions. Now, people take too long to make a decision. What I do in my whole board process within my team is we have a 24-second decision-making process. So we make a decision in 24 seconds, right? If we can't make it in 24 seconds, we make it in 24 minutes. Right? Can't make it in 24 minutes, we make it in 24 hours. And at which point, that decision is being made. It's either a yes, a no, or a maybe. That's it. We don't allow it to go beyond that. So my management team, we just make decisions so fast because we're not sat on it and coming back to it in 7 weeks' time, or forget it. And this is what fundamentally we make decisions fast. And I think that's that whole 24 seconds, 24 minutes, 24 hours is well worthwhile doing it, because nobody knows. You're not going to get any more data. So you can sit there, what happens if, but you're not going to get any more data. So the only time and here's the thing, what an expert is someone that has made all the mistakes in a particular niche field. You want to be considered the expert, make more mistakes. And the way you make mistakes is by making more decisions, right? And a mistake is only a mistake after the event. Up until that point, it's the correct decision. No one, including me, wakes up and says, I'm going to go and fuck up today. What a crazy idea. But this is where people go wrong, because they're so scared of making a decision in case it's a mistake. As a speaker, motivational speaker, I have died on stage, like 200 people looking at me, and I'm like, I've got no idea what I'm saying for the next 20 minutes. No idea. I've died loads of times. Now, that's what makes me an expert. Is because I've died, I realise now how not to die, how not to get in that position. But the way that you learn how not to die as a speaker is by dying as a speaker. And so many people are reticent to make decisions in case they're the wrong ones. And I tell you something, I applaud my team when they make decisions, and if they're wrong, we tried next.
No, look, I love it, and it's definitely something that I heard a long time ago. In fact, I started talking about it earlier, and I don't think I ever made the point at the end of it. But it essentially that it is a success trait. people that do really well have got a habit of making decisions very quickly and changing their mind very slowly. And people that are the opposite and don't succeed make their mind up very, very slowly, but then change their mind really quickly at the drop of a hat at the first obstacle. And it's interesting. So it's, yeah, it is powerful. It is powerful to make a decision and move forward, and rather than procrastinating. And it's great. Listen, at this point, I think what I'd like to do is ask you, for those guys and gals that are watching this today, where they can go to find out more about Brad Burton, what he's doing, how they can get more deeply connected with you moving forward. And we'll flash it across the bottom of the video.
Appreciate that. So in terms of me as a speaker, bradburton.biz, and you'll find everything about me that you need to know there. In terms of my private members club, nowwhatclub.rocks. And those 2 points there, just Google the name Brad Burton and find me on Twitter and the socials, Brad Burton. Okay,
brilliant stuff. And just to sum up, Brad, I've had a ball with this. And are you still located down around about Taunton area?
Yeah. So I've got myself a back cave over there, and I love the southwest. You know, it was interesting when we started this conversation. I told you that I got shot at in Manchester.
Yeah.
That was the worst day of my life. And I remember when I moved down from Manchester overnight to Somerset, and I was walking down Western Supermare High Street, and I kicked a can. And had no one to kick the can back. All my friends, all my life had been. I was in this now seaside resort. I didn't know anything about it.
Yeah.
Like first time I've ever been to Somerset. The reason I mention that is I'm now a ambassador for Somerset for the Tourism Association, a business ambassador. Think about that. Think about the lunacy of that. That actually, if it wasn't for me getting shot at, there'd be no Brad Burton, the motivational speaker. There'd be no 4 networking, all the lives that's impacted over the last 13 years. Yeah. There'd be no 4 books. There'd be no Now What Club. There'd be no mental. So everything happens for a reason. And actually, it doesn't make any sense at times until it's well in your rearview mirror. So for that gunman who put 2 bullets through my bedroom window, I owe you a pint. So it is. My life changed positively forever as a result of it. Nuts.
What a crazy world we live in, mate, eh?
Well, you know what? I don't want my boyish good looks spoiling, so I no longer have to walk around with a bulletproof jacket, which is lovely over in Somerset.
Yeah, no, good for you. No, mate, honestly, this has been an absolute pleasure. I've really enjoyed it. And by the way, you're in Taunton, you're not so far away from me. I'd like to do this over a proper cup of coffee over the same table one day.
100%.
Hook up with you again. Much luck with everything you're doing moving forward. And come back and see us and do another one of these in the future.
You got it, Rob.
All right, mate. You have a great day, and thanks so much for your time.
All the best, champ.
Cheers, Brad.
Bye.
Hey, it's Robert here. Thanks for watching the video. I hope you've really enjoyed it. If you've enjoyed this, then please subscribe to this channel and come back and see many more, doing these things all the time. And if you want to know when the next one comes up, click the little bell and you'll get a notification each and every time we've got a new video up there for you to have a look at. And the other thing is, I nearly forgot. If you love everything to do with personal development, business development, and just getting yourself into a peak state, then you're going to want to get over to my free webinar training, which is going to show you exactly the steps to take to overcome any inner barriers that are stopping you from achieving in life and business right now, and exactly what to do to get that put right and start living the life of your dreams, starting right now. Sounds like a tall order? Promise you, you can do this stuff. Get across to my webinar training. The link is in the description below this video. I hope to see you there. And at the very least, I hope that you click the bell. I hope you subscribe to the channel. And I hope to see you back here again soon. Take good care. Bye-bye.